Controversial insurance commissioner candidate Jim Beck has resigned from his job with the Georgia Underwriting Association. Now, it's a state-created insurance company for people who can't get insurance in the open market.
His resignation followed a Fox 5 I-Team investigation of his work history, which included working a full-time state job while running that association. So, why did he resign? Well, Fox 5 senior I-Team reporter Dale Russell set out to answer that question. Dale?
Russ, Jim Beck and several Georgia Underwriting Association board members say Beck talked with them for months about when would be the best time to step down and campaign full-time. But some of those board members were alarmed at the findings of our investigation of Mr. Beck's work history. When we began examining Jim Beck's work history as a state employee, we found it wasn't always easy. Can you just tell me why you took the... Well, that was uncalled for. Our investigation found in 2012, when Beck took over as general manager of the state-created insurance company, Georgia Underwriting Association, he also took a full-time state job as a victim witness advocate for a district attorney's office in West Georgia.
How could you work for both at the same time?
It's just important to have the availability of insurance.
Beck says he took the job at the DA's office after he left the insurance commissioner's office so he could keep his state insurance for his wife's pre-existing medical condition.
Were you giving the taxpayers a fair shake if you're doing that job at the same time you have a full-time job in the private industry?
Well, first of all, you don't know what my job was in the private industry. You don't know if it was full-time or not. You assume it's full-time. You don't know it's full-time.
That wasn't the only time Beck held two jobs at once. Earlier in 2005, we found Beck was lobbying state legislators for a private company, Nationwide Insurance, while working full-time at a state agency, the Department of Community Affairs. That lasted 4 months. Beck insists he was only a consultant for the state.
Why did the state records show that it's a full-time job and that you were paid a full-time salary?
I sent them an invoice and they paid me. I sent them an invoice every 2 weeks and they wrote me a check.
So you're saying you weren't working full-time?
I'm saying that I'm done talking to them.
His boss at the time told us Beck was full-time and earned a full-time salary. We wanted to know what the Georgia Underwriting Association's board of directors thought about our findings. I talked to 7 board members. 6 asked that their names not be used due to the political nature of our report. Most board members were complimentary of Beck's work, but were surprised to learn he was working another job while running their company. One board member said he was shocked to find out about Beck's 2 jobs at the same time. Quote, "It's pretty obvious taxpayers got ripped off. The question is, to what extent?" 3 board members told me Beck had discussed for months with the board about the best time to resign and campaign full-time for insurance commissioner, but one board member added, after seeing our investigation, if Beck hadn't resigned now, the board, quote, would have had a lot of digging to do. Jack Hardman was the only board member to talk on the record. This is him on his Nationwide Insurance webpage. He told me he felt Beck was an extremely good manager and resigned to pursue his campaign. He said he didn't know Beck had another job with the state for 2 years, but added, "I'm fine with that." Candidates like Jim Beck are qualifying for their state races this week. Last week, 6 days after our report aired, Beck sent a letter to the board. He wrote he resigned from his job as general manager, saying it has become apparent that this race is going to be highly politicized. Beck added that since the board is appointed by the current insurance commissioner, Ralph Hudgens, who supports another candidate, he did not wish to place any undue burden on you or your companies. And Jim Beck also stated in that resignation letter that there had been enormous political pressure applied to him and the board members, but he didn't identify the source of that political pressure when he made his decision. Russ, Sine.